Live. Hi, everyone.
Yay.
Happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode. Oh, you have to remember. Okay, 1 second. Okay. There's something going on with the sound. Kimmy, remember last week the same thing happened?
Do you got your phone nearby? Are you live on your one of your other
It's on
devices?
Instagram. It's this new Instagram thing.
All right, you sound fine now.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll see. It's supposed to. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna yell. So anyway, we are live, and that is how you know the show is live because things happen when you're live. So we are here today with, I want to say, for the first time ever, our first Black woman with a trans experience. We have not had you before on this show, and I think it was when I put out an APB in the group. I was like, we need a Black trans woman, and then he was like, I think I know someone. So y'all are in for I don't know, field day today. My name is Dr. Lulu. I'm the mom of a trans child. I'm also a life coach, a pediatrician, and all the things. And we come every Sunday, sometimes at 7 p.m. Eastern, sometimes now.
When we
And
can.
I'm usually joined by Kim. Kim is also a Mama Beast. So Kim, take it away. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're just kind of enjoying the weekend. The weather is beautiful in Michigan right now. Spring is on its way, and we're just enjoying the weather and having a good time here. So happy to be here again. Excited for the show. I don't get like a list of all the guests that are coming up. And so every week it's always a new surprise. So Dr. Lou's like, oh, guess who our guest is this week? So it's something I look forward to every time, but I'm really looking forward to this one. So let's get going. You know me. I'm Kim. I've been here. I am the proud mom of uh, two sons. My oldest is 22 and my youngest is 17. My oldest identifies as transgender, and my youngest identifies as transgender, non-binary, or gender fluid. And both of them started their journey like around the age, give or take, of 12 years old. And I've been on this journey supporting them and affirming them, following all the guidelines and the rules, and just trying to raise really productive, healthy young adults. That's what we're trying to do here. So
Amen. Amen. And today we have an amazing guest. I'm so excited. Nikki, thank you so much. And we have Vicky actually in the back room.
Vicky.
Vicky, let me see. Okay, Vicky is watching. Okay. All right. Well, Nikki, so welcome to the show. Thank you for gracing us as the first Black trans woman on this show. I am just like, I'm feeling all the feels. Thank you so much. With just a brief introduction, who are you and why did you decide to come on this show?
Okay. Hi, my name is Nikki Castle. I'm a life coach, a health coach. I do speak in occasions such as this, I would say. What really prompted me to be here with you guys is Vicky Fowler. My meet with her as a physician that facilitates and makes space for people of trans experience. And that's how I got here because she invited me to the platform. And I was very, 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 very impressed that there is such a platform as Moms for Trans Kids. I feel like it's the space that gives us a great big hug in a sense. And so I was very excited to be a part of the audience. And then uh, Dr. Fowler asked me if maybe we can set up something for you to be a guest. And this is how I'm here. So Thank you for making space for me. Thank you.
And thank you for being an example of what's possible. I know a lot of one of the things that I know I experience is people hear that my child is trans, and right away they feel sorry for me. They kind of, I can tell in their eyes, they think, oh my God, you know, you poor thing, and things like that. So I can imagine that that's 10 times more for the trans person. And I tell them, I say, look, I'm not sad. Like, I'm actually happy. I'm excited. It's called parenting joy. I found it, and I'm not going back, and I'm not, you know, I can't do it any other way. Kim, what has the experience been like?
You know, it's got its ups and downs, and it's hard. It's really hard. But you know what? I I wouldn't trade it for the world, because watching their journey and watching them succeed despite all of the other external pressures that come along with this ride, um, you know, I think it makes me more proud than even if they were to follow my expectations of them. Like, I am more proud of them than I think I ever could be if they followed what I would expect out of them. So I'm just here for it all. And I'm really happy and fortunate that, you know, I have a very good relationship with open communication between, you know, the three of us. You know, we share our feelings a lot. We check in a lot. Um, but you know what? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to know your human that you created so well, even better than you thought you knew them.
I'll say amen to that. So, Nikki, not Vicky, Nikki. So, tell us a little bit about you and why you decided to focus for this episode on the parenting journey. Are you a parent?
Focus. Sorry.
So I think it's relevant because the space speaks to parents championing for their kids. And so I think it's relevant for me to acknowledge parents in this because I think while for me, and I in no way am actually, I'm so sorry about that, in no way actually speaking for the trans community, but for me, being transgender is not a choice. Transitioning is the choice. Transitioning is the choice. And so, in that process of transitioning, it's it's hard. It's very hard for a lot of, I can say, us, and support is needed. But I think just in general, as kids, and we've all been a kid or child, I think the face of love begins with our parents.
Hmm.
The face of love begins with our parents. That's where we first learn compassion and empathy and all of the things that we will take with us throughout our journey. And that journey, you might want to say, that is a transition too for everyone. We all transition in life. We all transition. My journey of transitioning, I really believe that that part of my story, because it's not all of my story, that part of my story is for people to look at. You know, when you really want to test how deep your love is for humanity, then you can start here with this community because we are oppressed, suppressed in every which way. So, um, my reality is something for people to behold. It's not just my transness because it's a part of my journey. And so I think when the word trans comes up in identity, people immediately assume that it looks like this because of what we've been taught, the narrative surrounding the trans community, is not one that is embracing. And so for me to be here, not so much that I'm representing, but I am speaking through love and from a space of love, because for me to be who I am, it it's pure love. It's just pure love. That's how all I can say regarding that part of, that piece of my story.
I, yo, Kim, I'll be snapping with my technical issues in the background, but I love that quote.
Amazing.
We say that all the time on this show, that being transition, being trans, being gender diverse, being queer, period, is not a choice. I love that you added the piece that transitioning is a choice. But also, one of the things that I say a lot, since my child kind of asked, my youngest asked me about the fact that I don't tell the sibling story. Like, I don't talk about the fact that he also had to transition. He said, "Mom, I went from having a big brother to having a big sister." Right? I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you never talk about that." And that is true. The fact that it's a family affair. We're all transitioning when a child is transitioning. However, whether it's from regular, going from high school to middle school, is that the way? No, middle school to high school, elementary to middle school, whatever, playing football to playing to swimming, anything that it's going on in your child's life is also going on in your life. And I think one of the reasons I decided to start holding space for parents is because it's a journey. It's a journey. And when the government, for instance, comes for your kids or comes for you or labels you a groomer or all the things, that's just not fair. Our experiences are real as we try to understand. For me, I think my biggest struggle was I've been groomed and indoctrinated to think this way. And then my kid is now saying, no, 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 mom, it's actually this way, and trying to balance that. So I, as a Black immigrant Nigerian mom, I want to thank you for just thinking about us, just thinking about us. That's kind of all I have right now. I'm just, I'm at a, yeah, yeah. Kimmy, what about you?
And just you touched it, because I always say that, the transness that we live with in our household is just this small piece of everything else going on. There's school, there's careers, there's work, there's friendship circles, there's teachers, there's doctor's appointments, there's sports, I could keep going if you want, but the transness and what we focus on a daily is it takes up this much space. We don't talk about the fact that there's transgender in my household daily. We don't talk about that. It's not a topic.
I love it. I love that. In other words, we're not focusing on, oh yeah, but because you're trans. No, it's like you're just a regular kid.
No, you're still going to clean your room.
Yeah, clean your room, exactly.
You're still going to be grounded. You still got to get good grades. You still got to pass. You still parent your kids.
Yes,
it's all still there.
Yeah, yeah. And this quote about the face of love begins with our parents. I think it's the most powerful thing I've heard. And that to me is why, Kim, we talked about this backstage, why when we have some parents who kind of dig their heels in and say, well, I want to understand it. I'm going to check all of social media to figure out why. And we hold up, because I did this. I said, wait, don't be so trans when Nana is here. Don't be so trans when do you have to paint your nails when your grandparents are here? All the things, because we don't know any better. So I'm just so happy that finally we get a chance to talk about momming trans kids and what that is like from the trans child's experience, from the trans child's viewpoint. And so Nikki, because I keep wanting to call you Vicky, but Nikki, would you like to share a little bit about how that was like for you as a child growing up? Would you like to share what that was like for you over here, looking at your Black parents over there?
Yeah, so I don't mind sharing that part of my story. So I have a Jamaican background, so
Mm.
it's a topic and an issue in that culture that is, very no, no, no,
Mm.
there. And so I have to say now my relationship is better with my mom, but I understand it because the parents are transitioning too with the kids. And so for me, I've always recognized my feminine energy uh, from ever since I can remember. As I grew up, I struggled with the acceptance of it because of what I heard around me from family. I mean, because that's where we're gonna, as kids, that's where we're hearing information that will probably affect us, condition us throughout our entire lives. And so I suppressed for a good period of time. And for me to I don't want to use the word become, for me to be myself, maybe we can say this, uh, I had to leave my childhood home and really discover what this was for me. So it wasn't so much that I was looking for, I was, it's more that this, what I'm feeling, how do I even express it when it's not supposed to be? It's wrong.
Mm.
I had a family member once tell me, "Well, why couldn't you just be gay?"
Mm. Ooh.
So that being said, at
That
that
family
point,
member was me. Wait, hold up, Nikki. That family member was me. That was me.
mm,
I was like, wait, I thought you were just gay. I swear to God, I did. I said that. I thought you were just gay. And I have reconciled with myself, with my child, with the words that I said, with the hurtfulness, and realized again and again and again, I tell parents, don't be afraid of quote unquote saying the wrong thing if truly you're not saying it because you're saying, let me say the wrong thing. If you're saying it because this is just how you're responding because of what you know. But
yeah,
now that you know better,
yeah,
I was that person who said, wait, I thought you were just gay. Like, I hear you. But going back a little bit, because we had the author of Pum Pum Rock. Pum Pum Rock come. Was it Lisa? I forgot her name. I don't want to say the wrong name. I think Lisa or something. She was one of the guests. She was talking about how her wife is Jamaican and how her parents didn't come to the wedding. So I know that
right,
Jamaica is like Nigeria when it
yeah,
comes to all things LGBT. My ex-wife's mother is Jamaican.
yeah,
So I know,
right,
when it
right,
comes to LGBT. So I want to just tell you, I see you, sis. I
thank
cannot even imagine what it was like growing up in a home like that, with just not being able to say what it is that you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I did my best, but I
Mm.
know I had to discover more of my expression. I had to leave. And so
Mm.
when I left, I searched. I searched. I even permit me to say this. I even searched within the LGBTQ plus community to find myself there, but I recognized that it wasn't so much of finding something outside of myself. It was more finding me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm.
Finding me and all of me, all of me. And in finding me, I was able to embrace all of me. And
Mm.
that is where the courage came, because you have to be vulnerable. It's the best measure of courage. It's the best measure of courage. And so once I became vulnerable and accepted this expression of myself, then I started navigating on my own. I did not have support of parents. And I want to really say something, permit me to say this, is that a lot of what I recognize in my experience with my mom, they want you, they know what it is, and they've seen what it is on media platforms around you in social environment. They know what it is if they have a child that is a part of the LGBTQ, specifically trans or non-binary folks. They know, and it's about the safety. A lot of the actions is about the safety of their child. And so I want to acknowledge that, because I definitely saw and felt that even in the hurtful moments.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I saw that. I think shame is coming up for me too right now too.
Mm-hmm.
That is a part of it too as well. Um, I would be remiss, like, I don't even know why I'm going here, but permit me. I think as a parent, there is also this shame that we don't want to talk about that is attached to it too. Um, and this shame I'm speaking to is the shame that you did not do something correct as a parent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am so like having goosebumps. Thank you. Thank you for putting in words what a lot of parents are afraid to put in words. I have put as much as I can of myself out there, and I do use words like overwhelm and fear and shame and guilt. I use those words for my, and I say, I took off running and I ran all the way to the mall because that's what I did. And then I got there and I looked back and there they were, fear and shame and overwhelm and guilt, all the emotions, because I was like, wait, my own guilt came from, oh my God. And like you said, I knew about the gayness. And I was not okay with that at the beginning. I was like, okay, well, you know what? We can work with this because, my friend is gay. This one is gay. That one is gay. I'm gay. My sister is like literally, right? And I was like, okay, we can handle. And then, yeah, but just don't be so gay. Okay. And then I got the chance and I'm like, wait, what? God, I'll take the gay. Like literally, I was now bargaining with God. Okay, I'll take the gay. And this, it might sound funny, but truly it is out of a need to just do something. I just want to do anything.
Yeah.
But right this moment, Kim, and maybe you can back me up with this, we know people who are just stuck in that shame. And because they're stuck in the shame, I don't want to identify the emotion as shame. They are saying, well, maybe it's mental illness. Well, maybe it's some kind of genetic condition. Okay, maybe it's we're looking for everything to substitute for this. But truly, if you, what I know is I had to walk the walk of introspection. I I don't care which the parent. You could tell me you love your kid, and I'm sure you do. It's not about loving your kid, it's about affirming your kid. And my kid had to tell me the difference. You're supposed to love your child anyway. It's your child. But affirming your child is different from loving your child. And as long as you're still afraid to even say your child is gay, the affirmation is not coming. That's what I experienced, me. But I always want people to, you have to figure it out for yourself. So Kim, I know again, Kim, I know you had it a little bit easier because you already kind of grew up in a home that was affirming. But tell us your own, walk us through your own that first day, because we all have the initial fear, and then what you do with the fear is what either hurts the child more or begins
Yeah.
to heal the child. So Kim, do you want to come in here and tell us, how did you go from, did you also kind of always know? Because I always kind of knew about the game, for sure.
No, I didn't. I honestly, I didn't know, and I honestly didn't care about if they came out as gay. I mean, I have, like I said, and like you mentioned, I've been raised in an affirming home. While no immediate family members really identified as being part of the LGBTQ community, we had external family members and friends that did. Not a ton, not a ton. And we, you know, I grew up, I raised my kids in a very conservative area, was not very diverse. You know, if you can drive in any our direction and find diversity, but where we're at is there was really not a lot. When my oldest came out, you know, he did the I'm gay, and I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, like, okay, that's cool, you know, it's great, let's celebrate it, let's embrace it, and let's move on. And then he came, he says, I'm trans, and I was like, hang on, what does that mean? Does that mean you're still gay? Or is that different than gay? Is it the same as gay, but with a twist? I didn't know. I mean, I just really didn't know. I mean, because as far as transgender, any experience, I mean, I grew up being a big fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but you know, that was my view of like, what is a trans, you know, woman? You know, I didn't have any idea. I didn't know any until I went to college, you know, in a more diverse area, and I got to meet people, and it was a great experience. So, but I was scared. You know, that fear, not so much. I mean, there was some shame, but it was mostly overwhelming fear for my kids. Telling people, knowing that that's assuming some risk, you know, assessing risk every time you meet somebody new. It was exhausting, because whether my kid is like, I'm out and I'm proud and la-di-da, and is telling the world, I'm going, wait, let me vet out everyone, you know, and that's not possible.
Yes.
It's not possible. So you have to shift your parenting to, how do we handle certain situations? And we have to have a conversation about, you know, I don't want to throw hands with anybody, but I need to put people, you know, in check if need be. And my, you know, and of course my kids are like, calm down, mom, you know, just relax. And there's no calming a mama beast down. There just isn't. Now, we do have to accept the fact that we can't save them from the world. And we have to just do what we can to protect them the best that we know, within our means. And that's what we do. When my second one came to me, and this was not that long ago, you know, it was probably 3 years ago, and came to me and said that he was trans, I started to panic a little bit, and I don't know why. I was like, you know, I panicked, but then I was like confident in a way, because I already been through this one time, but everything was different. The social climate was different. The political climate changed completely since my first one had come to me. So it was a whole new ball game, and it was a whole new journey. And I went to I had therapist, and I had to figure out how to channel my aggression, my anger, my fear. And that's when I dubbed my angry Afghans, you know. So I started creating these Afghans that were huge, and I just started doling them out to family members. And I think I made like a dozen in a year. But you know, it helped me focus my energy. It made me think while I was doing it. And I kept thinking about each person as I was making a blanket for them, and the gratitude, you know, focus on gratitude in your life and all of that. So, you know, use the tools, they're out there, but you have to find what works for you as the parent.
I love that. I
That's
love
my journey. That's what worked for me, and that's what
it.
didn't work for me. The fear didn't work for me. I couldn't just curl up in a ball. That wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to do any good for my kids. If I dug my heels in and didn't do research and didn't find doctors and didn't find endocrinologists that they gelled with, I don't know where we'd be today.
Wow. I want to talk about something that, Kimmy, that was profound. I always want to give you flowers, Kimmy, because you don't have one but two trans kids. And while they're just kids, that's what they are.
Just kids.
I know, as a mother of one trans child, I know that I almost lost my mind because of all the thoughts that I had about me. It was more about the thoughts I had about me.
And yours was older.
Older, much older.
And one of the things that nobody talks about too is, when your kids come to you in middle school and in high school, think of their social circle. Think of all the parents of the friends that they hang around and they want to go spend the night at their house and they're in sports with. And, you got to think of it. That is you make yourself very vulnerable. By putting it out there. So, it's going to take some bravery from some of these parents, but.
But Nikki, coming back to you, it's doable. It's hard, but doable. That's what we say on this show, right? It's hard, but doable.
Right.
Nikki, coming back to you, and Kim, thank you so much for that perspective. And I think maybe if any parent is out there and has maybe more than one, we have Kim on the show that has more than one. Just FYI. But Nikki, I want to talk about something that Kim mentioned, which is therapy, and also because it's in the healthcare aspect. What about doctors? You mentioned at the beginning that you were here because of another doctor who invited you, aka Vicky, who's been fiercely writing. Vicky, thank you so much for writing all your comments. So I just want to shift it a little bit because one of the biggest things that the world is facing now is huge attack on the medical community for being affirming, huge distrust of the medical community from queer people because there's been a lot of trauma, huge health inequities as a result of health care professionals or health medical community not knowing how to engage just everywhere. And unfortunately, the victim remains the trans person or the queer person. Mm-hmm. Nikki, tell us in a few words, or as many words as you have, how, as a trans person, could we make amends? For me, speaking from the medical aspect, if that's even a thing. Because one of the things I realize is gender affirming care is truly trauma-informed care. Because you cannot affirm someone without knowing that by saying it this way, you're traumatizing them. By not saying it this way, all the things. So, and maybe you don't have answers to this, but that was the question that came to me. What are your thoughts about that?
So very loaded, but
I know.
When you said the word amend, it struck me. It resonated. And so maybe I can speak to that. So I worked in healthcare for, I would say, 20 years, transitioned in healthcare. And it wasn't pleasant, let me put it that way. I also work with a lot of spaces in New York, NYU, Langone. I lecture at NYU. As a matter of fact, I'm lecturing tomorrow for health disparities within the LGBTQIA plus communities. Mm-hmm. So when we speak to amend, then in the healthcare, I would start from me being Black, African American. That's That's something where you have to really stop. Am I getting proper care? Just being Black, being a woman,
Mm-hmm.
am I getting proper care? On top of that, being trans.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of that I've had to navigate in some sort of way. And I would say to you that throughout my transition and process, I've had to advocate for myself fiercely, even in spaces that welcomed me. You still have to advocate. And that's how broken it's that area of care is when it comes down to, and that's where they go to attack trans folks and non-binary folks in the healthcare system. If you pay attention, it's seen all
Mm-hmm.
the legislation, over 400 now, and 30, 40, 50, uh, is created to oppress. And when I look, because Dr. Lulu, if you see one, you have to see all.
Yes.
If you see one, you have to see all. I can't just see the chapter in my book that speaks to my transness. I have to also see the chapter in my book that speak to me being African American. And by the way, there's a high percentage of my background that is Asian. My grandfather,
Mm.
but you would not know that by looking at me. You would not know that. But what they see when I enter the room is how I'm treated. They don't know me. Because when
Mm.
we meet people, we get an idea. Like, I think people now watching this, they don't have an idea who I am until they start getting to know. And we have that thing where the minute we look at someone, we make up the story of who they are.
Yes.
And so we don't give humanity a chance for us to get, there's so much division. How can we mend that? Is by seeing each other, not just my transness, not just, but by seeing each other. If I see one, I have to see all. Absolutely. So, you know, I think it starts with each individual really looking at themselves. How am I showing up in this world? How am I
Mm.
showing up for other people?
Period.
I think it starts from there. We can't really go because all of that comes up from people's perspective. That's the resistance right there, people's perspective. So you really change begins on the inside. So
Mm.
each individual, you have to question yourself. If I say that I have love, why don't I have love for this person because of how they express? Why don't I have love for this person because of what they look like? Those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. So it begins with us. Because when we can change us, then any space that we're in, if we have that love, we bring that love. We are that
With
love.
us.
We bring that with us. So for to amend, and to change these spaces, we have to change ourselves. It starts from us. It starts from us. So that's what I would say. How I would speak to that. How can we change that? Because it's I think everyone needs to know a non binary, a queer person, a trans person, because when you know these folks, then because there's a narrative that goes on, you learn these, oh, that's wrong. But if everyone knows someone, I will say this, and this is just being vulnerable. I'm in North Carolina right now, and there are people that know me and don't know of my trans experience. And I think if they knew, and it's not, I'm not hiding anything, I'm just being myself. If they knew that, they probably would treat me differently.
Differently.
They would treat me differently. And, this, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because having to say that. I'm embarrassed having to say that. You're treated differently because of who you identify as, what you look like. In so many spaces, this society creates these narrative that you're supposed to look like this. So if you when once you walk in a room, you're like very conscious of how you're looking, period. So imagine that for a trans person, a non-binary person, a person that is still exploring who they are. Imagine that. Imagine that for someone. Is there space for these people, for me, for you? Imagine that. It's not.
Imagine that. Imagine that for a child.
Yeah.
Even the next level, like the non-binary person is invisible. I mean, as much as we're fighting for trans, but non-binary people are even less visible. And then children are even that much less. And then imagine a child turning on the TV and seeing a grown man saying, "We don't want that filth in our state. We don't want that." A grown. It's a sad thing. And I thank you for your energy. I thank you for just centering that experience, because I run away from that, because as someone who was diagnosed with chronic fibromyalgia years ago, I'm just running away from anything that will make me get emotional. So I know. I love, love, love what you just made so much sense, for the fact that it's a shame that now that I know, oh, well, I have to go now, and right, and don't call me, we'll call you, kind of thing. For all it's worth, thank you so much for sharing. That must have been like hard. And then it's not like it's going to stop this week or next week. It's like it's ongoing for life. And this is one of the reasons that we were talking. Actually, yesterday I made a comment on my group about mental health challenges in the gender diverse community. This is why. It's not a case of chicken before the egg thing. No, this is purely the chicken as a result of how the egg was treated or whatever. I don't know. It's not like, well, which is it? Is it a mental? No. I'm a Black woman and I'm cisgender. I have all of that privilege, right? And still, I know how hard life is for me.
Right.
What more for my child and for people like her? So thank you so much for saying. And Vicky was right. Vicky said parents so often make up a story even before a child is born. Kimmy, remember when we did the parents supporting parents? And that's what I wanted. I wanted the parents to say, before you even had your child, what were your thoughts?
Yeah.
About the child? It's critical, because if you're already thinking, oh, she's going to wear my grandmother's wedding gown, or all these things, and then she says, well, actually, Mom, I'm trans. What? So who's going to wear my grandmother's? That was your thought.
You know what my thought was? When I had girls, I was like, I'm not girly. How am I supposed to like get them ready for proms and all this stuff? I'm like, I am not a girly girl. I'm a woman. There's no doubt. That's what I feel. That's what I am. But however, I'm a tomboy. I'm not a girly girl. And I didn't know what I was going to do with all these, prom dresses and hairdos and all this. And well, turns out I didn't have to worry about that.
But Kim, let's go there for a minute, because sometimes, our words become manifest. I had been saying, oh, I wanted 2 boys and a girl my whole life. Before I had kids, I was like, I'm going to have 2 boys and a girl. I'm going to have 2 boys and a girl. And then I have 2 boys and a girl. And I'm like, wait, well, I'm not that kind of girl. It's like, what is it?
Careful.
Yes, but the whole time I was like, and then my daughter said, but Mom, because she's one that she said, Mom, you've always had a daughter. I was like, oh my God. I felt this small. She was like, you've always had a daughter. And I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I saw through all of it. I was like, I kept saying, stop acting like a girl to her throughout her childhood. But on this one, I said, well, God, I really want a girl. It's like, what are you doing? So Kim, you're like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with all the prom dresses. Well, you don't need to worry about prom dresses. Oh, I don't? No, you don't, because we're not going to wear prom dresses. Oh, you're not? No, you're not. It's like we start asking for this, and then the universe is like, well, that's what you got anyway. And like, but that's what I got? Yes, that's what you got.
That's what I got. That's what I got.
Yeah, sorry about that. I do want to talk about, just kind of go in there a little bit and ask Nikki, as we turn around to the last quarter, believe it or not. Ooh, this has been a very deep episode. But I want to ask you, again, going back to your own personal experience and just being a Black woman in the South, because North Carolina is officially the South, right? I think, yeah. What is that
South to me.
What is that like on a daily basis? What is
So,
that like on a daily basis? A day in the life of Nikki.
okay, so home is New York City. I moved here a year and a half ago. So I'm also experiencing it. I'm here. I appreciate the space. It's beautiful. The weather,
The trees.
the trees, nature. It's beautiful. It gives it's that space that I've always wanted. But it's a different feel here. And I want to say that wherever you go, in this country, in another country, maybe, as a person with trans experience, you're more than likely going to experience discrimination of some sort of othering, if I can use that word.
Yes.
You're gonna get that. So it's not so much of like, for me, a comparison, but yes, some spaces that we are in, and now in the South, I have to say that I do feel a sense of uncertainty here when it comes down to the community. I see where it's here, it's everywhere. As we're speaking now, a child is being born
Yes.
and a soul is leaving. So, as a child is being born now, and so many kids are being born into the world at this moment, there, some of those children are going to express in ways that might not be normal to society. And there are people that are leaving that are probably wishing that they had expressed that more. So
Yes.
here being in the South, I do see where, you know, there's some acknowledgement of it, but hush, 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 hush your mouth, hush your mouth now, as opposed to New York, where there's more of an expression. Not to say that you don't get attacked in New York in some ways, because, like I said, you can go anywhere and experience that type of discrimination, but it's been harder to navigate here for me, healthcare. Um, but for me, I believe that love brought me here to North Carolina for a reason. And I'm waiting in that love to see what happens. And that's it. That's all I can say. But
That's all you got. Yeah.
I enjoy the space, and I would not be able to say too much because I don't have that much experience being there. But I do know that it was very hard. It took me about a year to find Dr. Fowler. And when I found her, and actually my gynecologist is the one that referred me to her. So it took me a year to find my gynecologist that affirm a woman of trans experience with post-operative care. And so it's important. It's hard when I have fully transitioned
Right.
physically, and it's even harder because you have to access spaces, especially in healthcare. And as I approach a certain age where I need to pay attention to my health, it's becoming more harder to go into spaces. And one real quick thing that I need to say just jumped at me: allyship.
Mhm.
Allyship is a doing. It's a doing, folks. It is a doing. Allyship might look like not just saying, I have a friend that is queer, or I have a friend that is trans. I know someone someone that's trans, but allyship, it's a verb. It's a doing. There's a doing in there. It's an active.
An
Um,
active, yeah.
yeah, it's an action, I should
Yes.
say. And if you have spaces where you can speak to it in a way where you're saying everyone is accepted here, that's allyship, because if you have a friend and you're ashamed, here goes that word again, ashamed
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
saying that you have a friend because of the space that you're in, are you really an ally?
Or saying that you have a child. I love allyship as a friend, but I want this is for parents.
Yes.
And sometimes we have to say the hard things.
Yeah.
We just have to say the hard things. One of the things at the back of our T-shirt says hashtag parent ally. We don't take that lightly. We have a T-shirt that says "fuck the closet" and ask me how, and at the back says hashtag parent ally. Kim and I both have that T-shirt. We are parent allies. Allyship is hard,
Yes.
is what Nikki's saying.
Yes.
Allyship is a doing word. It's a freaking
It's
verb.
action. It's an action.
It's you roll up your sleeves, get dirty kind of thing for
Mhm.
allyship. And so, are you a parent ally? And I think I want to hold space for parents who have just learned about it. That anything, any news, I want you to take the time you think is enough. I want to say that slowly. The time you think is enough to process it, bearing in mind that your child has known way, 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 way before they told you. So if you decide to take a month, a week, a year, 10 years, 30 years, whatever years to process it, your child at that, yes. So
Time's a
I'm not going to be a coach if I'm not going to snatch your edges from time to time. That's what we do. So I'm not your friend. Truly
Yep.
not your friend. I'm here to tell you the truth and offer it as, on roast beef if I have to, but it's still the truth. And that means being a parent ally means rolling up your sleeves and say, okay, you know what? I may not understand this,
Mhm.
but here I am to support you. And I think that's because some kids are questioning, they don't even fully understand it yet.
Hmm.
So while you're waiting for my kid to understand it fully so they can explain it to me so I can now understand it, like Kimmy said,
Time's ticking.
yes.
With your kids, time's ticking. You know they were just like you were carrying them in a little bundle and you swaddled them up. That was just felt like a minute ago.
Mhm.
Time
Goes
time is
fast.
a thief.
And
Time
then
is a
before you know it, your kid is going to be like mine, almost 26 and fully independent and can say just, you know what, deuces, I'm out.
yeah.
And
That's it.
what is love if if it doesn't have support? What is it then? What is love if there's no support in it?
This
Isn't
word
love support? Isn't that, how can we say we love and not support?
Mm.
love is warmth. It is safety. It is unconditional. It is
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. So just accept it. Love your kids, right? And that's what Dr. Lou said. I ran into many parents that just look at me like, Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know.
What do you mean they didn't die? They're right
They didn't
here,
die.
and they're asking for snacks. So
I mean,
it's
they want to eat dinner. They want to know if they can go hang out with their friends.
it's
Kids
just
will
kids.
always be kids. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They're gonna be kids. Oh my God, Nikki, this has been so that I think profound is what is the word that's coming from me. What do you think, Kimmy?
I think this is probably one of the best shows we've ever had.
Ah. And Nikki,
do.
your energy is regal. I see colors of purple. I see hues of purple shades around you, like just a royalty kind of. I love the way you carry yourself. Thank you for
Poised,
coming and
very
blessing us
poised.
today.
Yeah.
Yes, very poised. Right? I love it. Almost like what was it? Was it Sarafa a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago?
Yep.
She's also a trans woman. She's just poised, like just regal, like just got. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming. How can the people find you, follow you, support your work? I know you're a coach. How can people, find you and support you? Please tell us.
So as a life coach, I think, and I got this, and I don't know, this came to me recently. So I think you've done some coaching too, doctor, and coaches or life coaching can be such a loaded thing. And I was like, how are you going to teach someone how to live life? Is that what that means, or stuff like that? But really, what I do in my practice is a transcendence coach, transformative coach work, healing. That's what it is. It's all about healing. And so that is my coaching practice. But I just started a podcast, and this is my first time even saying it on any platform. I
Wow.
started a podcast. The name of it is Empathic.
You got to dance.
Just so y'all know, this is still Dr. Lulu. I'm usually not like, and this is Nikki. Nikki, this is fully your energy.
Yeah, it is.
Kim and I have absorbed. We're not usually like, no. I'm like usually like. So I had to do that dance because.
Thank you.
Yes. Please, yes. I want to come. Kim and I want to come on your show.
Yeah.
What it's about.
So I just started it like in March, and I've released some pods. I call them pods because it's really about healing for people all over the world. It's like I record these pods and I send them out to spaces. I'm grateful for technology because I'm able to reach someone in even Palestine right now that's going through having difficulty, and breed a word of encouragement and love to heal that wounded heart. So my podcast is called Empathic Explorations. You can look me up on Apple, Spotify. I'm all new to this tech stuff. And my YouTube channel is Insights with Coach Nikki. And so YouTube gives us a space to put the podcast there for people that they can go. I'm sure, Dr. Lulu, you know all about this stuff. I'm just learning it. So I just started this. I want to label it as a project, but it's actually something led me to that space to do that.
Work. Yeah, like your life's work, almost like mine. And even Kimmy. I mean, really, anyone that's doing this work, usually mine was my story led me to here. Kim, I had to tug, and then she's now fully here, even more so than me, because Kim is everybody's different. I'm 100% the other Pisces, the one going the other way. That's me, not this one, that one. And Kim is Kim. Are you Sagittarius? What are you?
I'm a Libra. I can never make decisions, and I weigh everything.
You
can't tell me something
literally,
and have me believe everything. I gotta weigh this side, and I gotta weigh this side.
Yes, I love it. Look, Nikki, you have been beyond amazing. Thank you so much for coming and blessing us today. I truly appreciate it. Should I tell them to go find your show and listen to it? Can you say that so I can type the name down? Do you want to say that and share?
Yeah, it's Empathic Explorations. That's my podcast. And my
What's it
YouTube
called? Sorry,
channel,
say that again.
Empathic.
Empathic
Oh,
Explorations.
explorations. Ah,
Uh-huh.
I
Yes.
love that. And
Yeah.
seriously, I could listen to you. I'm going to put your podcast on and just go to sleep and just take it all in because your voice is like
it's yes,
mesmerizing.
yes,
I just want to go to sleep. I just want to, okay. Nikki, tell me all
yes,
the
yes,
things and I'll go to sleep. Just listen to your
yes,
voice.
I
yes.
appreciate it. Yes. And I have my YouTube channel that I just set up, and I'm trying to build a community, a community of healing, a space for healing, for people to come. And so much happening out there, but this is
Yeah.
a space where you can come. Mental health is normalized. That conversation is normalized in that space. And that's basically my work now. It took me a while to get here, but I am here and I am grateful.
Not
That's all
going
I can say.
anywhere.
Grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. We're grateful too. And I know Kimmy is, and I know Vicky is, and everyone who's listening, and the folks on Instagram. I know y'all can hear me. I had to turn that off because it kept echoing. We have a bunch of people watching you on Instagram, like 30 something people, but I can't access them because the thing was it was echoing. So I had to shut that off. So I can't find that. But we also had like 9 people on LinkedIn, and I don't know, 2 people on YouTube. So at least 40 people listen to you, and this is way before we even go, put it on the Apple podcast space. So thank you all so much for joining us today. This is maybe going to be our new time. I don't know yet, but to everyone who joined us, the show is called Moms, the number 4 Trans Kids podcast. We are Mama Beasts, and we truly don't give a fuck. And yes, we say we cuss on this show because when you're over 50, you run out of fucks to give. And if you're coming from my kid, I'm gonna fuck you up. I mean, it just is what it is. Kim is just like, whatever.
That's what you get.
That's what you get. If you're coming for my kid, you will get that.
And we a package deal. You come for our kids, we both coming for you.
I mean, really. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for hanging out with Nikki and Kimmy and Dr. Lulu today. If you're a parent, if you think that maybe your child might be in the queer community and you'd like someone that will give you the truth served over roast beef, holla at your girl at dr-lulu.com. We have a Facebook community where we actually have prompts and we try to make posts and try to engage. We're not going to pamper you. I know Kimmy, you said something. You said something was triggering you too. I was like, that's Kimmy. Kimmy was like, look, I actually feel triggered when you try to say mental health. And I was like, ooh, all right, Kimmy.
Oh, because I was gonna go there, I mean, you got to go deep and while we always talk about trans joy, mental health, it can take a big toll. Dealing with the world the way it is today can take your kids' mental health. And it's not just a phase. It may not be just teenagers, locking themselves in their room, watch their behavior because it's important to get a handle on the mental health piece of your kiddos while they're growing up, because they could have other ailments that go undetected because you're so, because you don't have all the other nonsense you have to deal with society and pressures and bullying and all that. I mean, that all gets in the way of treating what can actually be a very serious mental illness. So, we got to get a grip. Like, we got to get a grip so society isn't as mean and as unaccepting as they are today, because it is taking a toll on our kids. Yeah. So watch out for them. That's our job.
And also on us, in all fairness, when our kids are hurting, we are hurting. And we could talk about that all day, but we have to let our guest go about her way, and we have to go and do the things that Sundays do. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Vicky, for an amazing guest. Thank you so much, Nikki, for being an amazing guest. And thank you, Kimmy, for joining me as always. We are Mama Beast, and we'll see y'all on Sunday. The show is called Moms, the number 4 Trans Kids. Tell someone about us. Find us on social media. Find us on Spotify and Apple. Follow, share, and we'll see you next week. And that's all I have. Peace.
Thank you.
And so, bye, y'all.